guys, I'm so excited to show you this twist crop pattern. It's actually a sister pattern to the other twist crop that I have that is strap based and the back is open. I'll put a picture up on the screen to show you. But I also made this version to have thicker straps that will offer more support, and also a covered back for those of us who don't like the open strappy backs. It's a super easy pattern. Once you get the hang of it, you could knock these out in like 10 minutes tops. Super easy. You can make a whole collection for the gym, and I'm very excited. This is one of my favorites. So we have 2 front pieces and we have 2 back pieces. So when I cut them out, they're mirrored, so it's hard to see because it's a solid color, but these are right sides together. So we're going to start. We'll start with the back piece because that's what I have right here. I'm going to pin the arm sections as well as this back section and this bottom section as well. Like so. With the front piece here, we're going to do the arm sections and also these long sections here. Amazing. Now we're going to sew the sections that we just pinned together. So essentially every part except the side seams and the shoulder seams. Now I overlock as standard, but if you don't have an overlocker, completely fine. Just go ahead and use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine and then you can trim off the excess. That's all done. I'm using black thread because I thought it might be a bit easier to see on this color fabric, but obviously when you're doing yours you want to match all the colors. So the next step is to take the front piece, we want to turn it the right way around, and we want to place some clips on the unfinished edges of the shoulders and also the sides. Amazing. Now we're going to take this bottom part here, this bottom shoulder seam section, we're going to flip it up. Make sure the side seam is also flipped and flat. So that's essentially what the front of the top will look like. Now what we need to do is feed this into the back. We're going to join up these shoulder seams and join up the side seams. It's just when you feed it through, make sure this doesn't accidentally fall and then you end up like twisting it in the incorrect way. So this is what it needs to look like inside of here. Now it's pretty easy to guess what's next, but we're going to sew these shoulder seams here and also the side seams. Just like so. I'm going to tie off these corners and trim off the excess. So the last step is to turn this top the right way around. And how you do that is you need to pick somewhere on the top that has only 2 pieces of fabric in the seam. Like we don't want to do the side seams or the shoulder seams, but you can do anywhere along the bottom or the arms or the sort of like the back scoop here. I prefer at the bottom, but it is technically up to you. Now we're going to open a hole just big enough to fit all of this fabric through to turn it the right way around. So if you're using quite a thick fabric, you might need, say, like 5 centimeters. If you're using a thin fabric like me, I can probably get away with 3. So I'm going to choose this bottom section and I'm just going to undo about 3 centimeters. I mean, that's a very small hole, but I'm going to see if that works for me. And if not, we'll make it a bit bigger. But you're just going to reach in, grab the inside section, and turn it the right way around. And I think this hole is just going to be big enough. Amazing. Now, the last step is just to sew this section closed. Now, you want to be as neat as possible. You want to make sure you're folding the seam allowance in, so it's all tucked in. You also want to make sure you trim off any of these loose threads. So I'm just going to place a straight stitch to close up this hole and I will show you what that looks like. That's all done. So definitely recommend using the correct color. I've just gone with black so you can see. Now it is stretch fabric, but you can get away with a straight stitch, not only because it looks much cleaner, but because that is such a small section of the top, whereas the rest can still stretch perfectly fine. So yeah, the straight stitch works perfect for that. And you're actually all finished. So this is what it looks like. We've got the twist at the front, just the classic back. So one last thing that I think elevates any clothing you make is to add padding to it. So this one in particular, I didn't feel needed a lining because these two sections hold the padding quite well by themselves. So I haven't added a lining. I do have some padding here. And what I like to do is turn it the wrong way around, which technically it was because at the moment it's reversible. But I like to cut a very small hole, just small enough to fit the padding. Mine is quite thick. So if you have thinner padding, you might be able to get away with a smaller little hole. But for me, usually the underarm is the most inconspicuous place to put it, or the middle of the side seam. I might do the middle of the side seam. So be careful when you cut, make sure you only cut through one layer. Just like that. The reason this works for spandex is because spandex is made of polyester and elastane. Elastic, essentially, it's just plastic most of the time. So it doesn't fray. So that's the reason we can get away with a step like this. If you want, you could technically have put the padding in before you did the side seams, and it could be permanently in there. You can also sew it in place at a step before, like on the inside. You can sew along the edges if you want to, completely up to you. I find it, you know, pretty easy just to do removable padding. So I'm going to roll up my padding, place it inside, and pop it into shape. Same with the other side. There we go. And there's our top. With some practice, literally 10 minutes, and you can have as many of these as you want.